The night of March 31st, 2006 started like any other Friday night. Brian Shaffer was 27 years old, a medical student at Ohio State, and he was doing what any guy his age would do on the first night of spring break, going out with a friend, grabbing some drinks, just breathing for once. No agenda, no drama. Just a normal night out in Columbus. He walked into a bar. Security cameras caught him on the way in. He was smiling, never came back out. Not through the door, not through the back, not through any exit that anyone could find on any camera. From any angle, at any point during that night, Brian Shaffer walked into a building and simply wasn't there anymore. That was almost 20 years ago, and nobody, not his family, not the Columbus police, not the FBI, has ever been able to explain what happened to him. To understand why this case hits so hard, you have to know a little bit about who Brian was. He wasn't someone drifting through life without direction. He was the opposite of that. Brian grew up in Pinkerton, Ohio, a quiet suburb southeast of Columbus, the kind of place where you know your neighbors and Friday nights mean high school football. He was close with his family. Everyone who knew said the same thing. He was the kind of guy who remember your name after meeting you once, who made you feel like you actually mattered when he was talking to you, and he was going places. Brian was in his second year at the Ohio State University College of Medicine, one of the most competitive programs in the Midwest. That doesn't happen by accident. It takes years of grinding, staying focused when everyone else is burning out, and then grinding some more. His professors and classmates said he was exactly the kind of student you would expect to make it through. But the month before that night had been brutal. His mom had just died from cancer, and if you ever lost a parent, you know there is no clean way to grieve that, especially when you are also trying to keep your life together. Brian was still going to class, still showing up, but the people close to him could see it. The weight was there. Spring break felt like a lifeline, a chance to just step away from all of it for a minute. Be a normal 27-year-old for 1 week. That's all he was trying to do. Friday night, Brian headed out with his friend Clint Florence. No big plan, just bar hopping around the Gateway district near campus, the stretch of Columbus that students and young professionals basically lived in on weekends. By every account, Brian was having a good time, talking to people, laughing, doing what you do. Nobody who saw him that night said anything seemed off. At some point, they ended up at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a popular spot on the second floor of a building in the district. Loud music, packed crowd, the kind of place where midnight sneaks up on you. Around 1:55 in the morning, a security camera picked up Brian near the entrance escalator, graining footage. This was 2006, but it is clearly him. He's going in. Somewhere inside, he and Clint got separated. That happens in a crowded bar. You lose track of people. Clint figured Brian had either left already or would find his way home. Perfectly normal assumption. Happens all the time. Brian didn't find his way home. He didn't go back to his apartment. Didn't call anyone. Didn't show up when spring break ended. didn't reach out to his family, his girlfriend, anyone. After 1:55 a.m. on April 1st, 2006, nobody saw Brian Shaffer again. Not one confirmed sighting anywhere. When investigators started pulling the security footage, that's when things got genuinely strange. They could see him going in, clear as day, time-stamped, confirmed. But no matter how many cameras they checked, the bar itself, the building exits, the surrounding businesses, they could not find a single frame of Brian living. Not once, not anywhere. He walked in, the camera saw it, it didn't work out. The cameras never saw that. That one fact turned a missing person case into something investigators had never really encountered before. They went through every possibility. Were there gaps in camera coverage, unwatched exits, a construction area nearby with an alternative way out, a malfunctioned, tampered footage? None of it was ever ruled out. None of it was ever confirmed either. The Gateway District buildings had multiple businesses and service entrances, and it is possible, genuinely possible, that Brian slipped out through somewhere the cameras didn't cover. But possible and what actually happened are very different things, and that gap has never been closed. Meanwhile, investigators were doing everything you would expect. They interviewed everyone who was out that night, searched the surrounding area, checked hospitals, shelters, transit records, followed up on tips. His cell phone went completely dark. No calls, no text, no activity whatsoever. We suggested it had been turned off or destroyed. Then months later, he briefly pinged a network, just once. No precise location, nothing that could be traced, but it meant the phone, or at least something connected to it, still existed somewhere months after Brian vanished. That ping has never explained. It is one of the details that sticks with you. In the years since, three main theories have floated around, and honestly none of them are fully satisfying. The first, and the most straightforward, is that Brian left through an exit the cameras didn't cover. The building wasn't sealed, there were gaps. If you walk out through the wrong door, you will have disappeared from the footage without it meaning anything sinister. But then, where did he go? Why no contact, no sightings, no financial activity? That part doesn't close. The second theory is that something happened to him, that someone hurt him, and that whatever took place was covered up well enough that no physical evidence surface and no witness ever talked. It will explain the total silence afterward, but it requires a near perfect cover up with no cracks, which is rare. The third theory is that Brian chose to disappear, that the grief, the pressure, all of it added up and he just walked away from his life. The people who actually knew him have largely pushed back hard on this. He had people he loved, a future he was building. Nothing in his behavior pointed towards this, and there is zero financial or digital evidence of someone starting over somewhere. Every theory explains part of what happened, none of them explain all of it. There's something uniquely painful about a case like this. No crime scene, no answers, no remains, no moment where a family finally get to know. Instead, you get years of not knowing, a hope that never quite dies, but also never gives you anything to hold on to. Brian's father, Randy Shaffer, spent years keeping his son's name out there, doing media interviews, pushing for continued investigation, refusing to let the case go quiet. The emotional cost of doing that, year after year with no year answers, is hard to even imagine. This case gets talked about not because it's the most violent or dramatic unsolved disappearance out there. It gets talked about because of how simple and how baffling it is at the same time. A man walked into a building, camera recorded him walking in, he didn't come out, that's it. That's the whole misery. And somehow, that's enough to keep people up at night. Someone in the gap between that last frame of footage and right now, there's an answer, and someone somewhere might still have it. If you know anything about Brian Shaffer's disappearance, the Columbus Division of Police still accept tips through their missing units. Brian has been missing since April 1st, 2006. He will be 46-year-old today. The script was written with full respect for Brian's family and everyone who loved him. Everything here is based on publicly available information and reporting on the case.